In the heart of South Africa's gold-rich land lies a tale buried deep beneath the earth. Beneath the dust follows Mokgadi, a humble miner whose life spirals into heartbreak and despair as the lust for gold devours everything he holds dear. With every strike of his pickaxe, a secret is unearthed, and with every breath, his fate tightens around him. This is not just a story, it's a cry from the underworld of the mines. The sun had not yet broken the horizon when Mokgadi Molongo rose from his rusting steel frame bed. He stretched, back aching as usual, not just from yesterday's shift, but from 10 years of grinding labor deep beneath the crust of the earth. The tin roof of their rented shack rattled softly as the wind rolled across the mining town. His wife, Naledi, lay curled beneath a thin blanket, her soft breathing the only music in the silence. Mokgadi knelt beside her and brushed her hair from her face. "You should eat before work," she whispered, eyes half closed. He smiled weakly. "The mind doesn't wait for love." Naledi chuckled, but it was the kind of laugh that carried pain. "Then hurry back, so I won't forget your face." Mokgadi's boots were cracked. His helmet had a chip. But he walked out into the early chill, shoulders squared, jaw tight. Another day. Another descent into the dark. Altia Gold Mine was a behemoth, a scar upon the land. The elevators creaked as they descended, carrying men like him into the bowels of the earth. The air grew thicker, hotter, the deeper they went. Beside him, Mosigo, his longtime colleague and closest friend, wiped sweat from his brow. "Heard about the collapse in Tunnel 3. Mosigo muttered. Mokgadi nodded. "Third one this month. No one's talking, but they say it wasn't just poor engineering. Someone knew." Mokgadi didn't ask who. In the mines, knowing too much got you buried in silence. They stepped off the lift and entered their shaft, number 17. The darkness was heavy, swallowing their light. The rhythmic clink of pickaxes echoed like a sad heartbeat. That night, Mokgadi found Naledi by the window, her arms folded across her chest. "What is it?" he asked, his body covered in dust and exhaustion. She handed him a letter, a torn envelope from a clinic. His hands trembled as he opened it. His eyes scanned the paper, and time froze. I'm sick, Mokgadi," she said softly. "It's in my lungs. The doctor says it might be from the chemicals, from the cleaning job. The factory didn't protect us." Mokgadi couldn't speak. His throat closed. Her eyes brimmed with unshed tears. "I didn't want to tell you until I knew for sure. But now, I want you to promise me something." He took her hand, rough against his own calloused fingers. "Anything. When the time comes, don't let me die alone." At the mine, whispers floated like ash in the wind. A new tunnel was being opened, Tunnel 9. But the older miners warned against it. The ground there was unstable. Dangerous. But Supervisor Dlamini, a man known for his greed, didn't care. Gold veins had been discovered beneath that section, pure, untapped. He'd already taken bribes to rush production. Safety be damned. Mokgadi overheard Dlamini on the phone one night in the office trailer. No inspections. Tell them the papers are in order. If we delay, we lose millions. He stepped away before Dlamini could notice. Something inside him stirred, fear, yes, but also rage. The mine was eating them alive, and the men in charge were feeding it. That weekend, Mokgadi took Naledi to a small hill outside the mining camp. They sat beneath the stars, silence between them, not awkward, but comforting. I used to think we'd leave here, Naledi whispered. Get a small house near a river. Maybe a dog. Children. He didn't respond. He couldn't. The dream was slipping from their hands, like dust between his fingers. Then she pulled a necklace from her coat, a tiny charm shaped like a star. For you, she said. So you can remember that not all light lives above the ground. Mokgadi held it to his chest and made a silent vow to protect her, no matter what it cost. The announcement came with no warning. All train crews to report to Tunnel 9 tomorrow morning. Mandatory. Signed, Dlamini. Mokgadi stared at the notice posted on the break room wall. Mosigo spat at the ground. They want to kill us, Mokgadi. That ground hasn't settled. You heard the rumble last week. Mokgadi said nothing. His mind was elsewhere, on Naledi, coughing blood in her sleep 2 nights ago. She needed better care, real doctors, medicine they couldn't afford. Tunnel 9 was danger, but also double pay. He clenched his fists. We'll be careful, he muttered, more to himself than to Mosigo. That night, Mosigo came to Mokgadi's shack with a face carved in panic. There's something you need to see. They crept under cover of darkness to the rear of the equipment shed. Mosigo pulled a flash drive from his boot. I work night maintenance. I found this in the supervisor's console, he whispered. Blueprints, reports, proof that Tunnel 9's foundations aren't secure. They know it. They're hiding it. Mokgadi's blood ran cold as he scrolled through the files. The digital reports had red flags, geological instability, high gas concentrations, missing safety clearances. We take this to the Union, Mokgadi said. Mosigo shook his head. The Union rep is bought. And just like that, the walls of trust began to collapse. They went down anyway. Tunnel 9 was deeper than the rest, moist walls, narrow corridors, the air already sharp with chemicals and dread. Hours into the shift, Mokgadi heard it, a groan from above, like the earth itself was warning them. Move, someone yelled. Then the ceiling cracked. A wall of stone and dust fell like a fist from God. Screams. Shouts. Lights flickering. Then silence. When the dust cleared, 4 men were buried alive. One of them was Sizwe, a young father who always hummed lullabies underground. Mokgadi knelt beside the rubble, shaking, the blood on his gloves not his own. He had chosen to come. He had chosen gold over life. Naledi had stopped speaking. Her breath came in gasps, her eyes distant. The doctor's words repeated in Mokgadi's head, advanced fibrosis. Without oxygen support and proper treatment, she doesn't have long. He sat beside her, holding her hand. I'll take you away from here, he said. We'll go to the city. I'll find a way. Her lips moved slightly. You always say that. His heart cracked. Not from her doubt, but because she was right. Every promise he made fell into the same pit as the men he buried. He had nothing. No escape. Just lies stitched with hope. Mokgadi sat in the dark, pen shaking in his hand, writing to the mine's head office. We are not machines. We are men. You built your towers on our bones. There will be more deaths, innocent men crushed by your silence. Do something. Save us. Save my wife. He didn't sign it. He didn't send it. He burned it instead, the flames lighting up Nelly's sleeping face across the room. She looked peaceful, too peaceful. He walked over, touched her cheek. Cold. Time stopped. His scream tore through the night like a breaking chain. The room was too quiet now. No coughing. No whispers. No scent of hair oil or wilted flowers on the windowsill. Mokgadi sat by Nelly's empty side of the bed, her necklace clutched in his hand. It had once felt light. Now it weighed like iron against his palm. She was buried on a Tuesday. No family came, only Mosigo and 2 neighbors from the compound. Even the sky remained cloudless, as if refusing to mourn. Mokgadi didn't cry. He hadn't cried in years. But that night, he screamed into his pillow, as though the pain might echo down into the shafts where he had left her love behind. Supervisor Dlamini gave a short, fake condolence. Sorry about your loss. Get some rest. We need you back strong. Mokgadi said nothing. His eyes burned through Dlamini's forced smile like fire through dry wood. He walked past the man's desk and paused. There, peeking out from under a folder, was a document marked Private Assessment, Shaft Viability, Tunnel 11. The same lies. The same corners cut. Another death waiting. Later that night, Mokgadi sneaked into the office. He copied the files. Names. Dates. Signatures. It was proof enough to burn the entire mine down. But what was he going to do with it? The deeper he went, the more he wondered, is exposing them worth the body count that might follow? A week later, fire broke out in Tunnel 11. It was gas ignition, exactly as the suppressed report predicted. 3 more men gone. Charred. Crushed. The mining company issued a press statement. Freak accident. Investigation underway. Mokgadi watched the news with clenched fists. They'd never pay. Never admit guilt. The world above moved on. And the men below rotted. Mosigo came to his door that night. You have proof. Let's go to the media. We can't stay silent. Mokgadi's voice was hoarse. What if they kill us too? They already are, Mokgadi whispered. 2 nights later, Mokgadi found his door broken. His files were scattered. Neladi's necklace, missing. On his bed, a note scrawled in red, "You dig too deep, you die too soon." He backed away slowly, heart pounding. Someone was watching him. The mine wasn't just a company, it was a machine. And the deeper you sank, the more it crushed what was left of you. Outside, shadows moved. He ran. He couldn't stay in his shack. Couldn't trust the union. Couldn't go to the police, not when half of them wore the same uniforms as the mine security. Mokgadi went underground, not into the shaft, but into hiding. For 3 weeks, he lived in abandoned machinery rooms, eating stale bread and washing in oil barrels. Mokgadi smuggled him food and batteries for his flashlight. But the men hunting him were getting closer. And somewhere deep in the mine's control systems, Supervisor Dlamini was planning the next cover-up. Only this time, Mokgadi had nothing left to lose. Mokgadi prepares to expose everything, but betrayal cuts deeper than any pickaxe. A tragic accident awaits. And not every friend is truly loyal. Hiding beneath a rusted storage platform in the lower sector, Mokgadi listened to the hum of machines, footsteps above, and the slow creak of time. He hadn't spoken to another soul in 4 days. Then Mokgadi arrived with a small flash drive. "This has everything," he said in a hushed voice. "The emails. The bribes. Names. Dlamini. His partners. The fake safety inspections." Mokgadi stared at it like it was a bomb. "It's not enough to send," Mokgadi continued. "You have to go public. We leak this to every journalist, every outlet, even the foreign ones. They can silence everyone." Mokgadi nodded. He'd already made up his mind, he wouldn't survive this. But the truth would. Mokgadi re-entered the mine disguised as a contractor. Grease-streaked helmet. New badge. No one questioned him, just another face in the machine. But he wasn't there to work. He was going to Tunnel 9, back to the place where men had died and where silence had been sealed in stone. There was one last hidden folder in the site servers, a signed approval letter from head office authorizing unsafe extraction methods. If he retrieved it, the story was bulletproof. As he descended into the shaft, lights flickering, he paused and whispered, "For Nelady." The server room was abandoned. He plugged in the flash drive. The transfer started, slow, flickering, nearly done. Then he heard it. A voice behind him. "Turn around slowly, Mokgadi." It was Mokgadi. But not the Mokgadi he knew. This one had a pistol. And a badge from the mining company's private security division clipped to his vest. "You." Mokgadi whispered. "Why?" Mokgadi looked away. "I needed the money. My daughter needed surgery. They made me an offer. Keep you close. Feed them information. Stop you before things went too far. You gave them Neladi's necklace." Mokgadi flinched. I didn't want her to die, he whispered. But you let her. A siren wailed. In the distance, a blast. Not near them, deeper. A timed detonation meant to trap Mokgadi inside the server shaft. The company was erasing the evidence, literally. Mokgadi lunged forward, smashing the server glass. Bullets ripped through the air, one caught his side. He fell, blood soaking his shirt. But he had the flash drive. The data. And one backup, secretly uploaded through a wired port to a secure contact on the outside. He smiled through gritted teeth. Even as smoke filled the tunnel. Even as the ceiling cracked above. Even as he knew he would never walk out alive. The mine collapsed over Tunnel 9. The company declared it an unfortunate accident. No body was recovered. No memorial was held. But 2 weeks later, news broke across multiple countries. A leak of explosive documents tied Altia gold mine to multiple deaths, cover-ups, and international fraud. Protests erupted. Investors pulled out. Executives resigned. Arrests were made. In a tiny digital message posted anonymously under the title "The Voice from Below," a single line echoed across the internet: "We buried the truth beneath the earth. But the truth always finds a way to breathe." His name was now a whisper. Mokgadi. The miners who survived refused to let him be forgotten. They scribbled his name on walls in chalk. They told stories in hushed voices before shifts. Some said his ghost still walked Tunnel 9, holding a broken helmet and bleeding from the side. Others said he had become something greater, not a ghost, but a warning. The company tried to wash him from history. Tried to erase every record. But it was too late. His story had escaped. It was in the hands of reporters, victims' families, human rights lawyers. He had dug until it killed him. And somehow, he had won. In a Johannesburg newsroom, a junior journalist named Larotto received a small, beaten package. No return address. Inside, a cracked flash drive, a faded photograph of Mokgadi and Nelady, and a necklace, small, silver, unmistakable Neladies. Attached was a note. 3 words: "Tell them everything." The flash drive contained audio recordings, Mokgadi's voice, weak but steady, narrating the events of the mine's corruption, the betrayals, the deaths. Larotto listened through the night. And in that voice, trembling but defiant, she found her purpose. The media storm exploded. Major outlets picked up the story. Photos of collapsed tunnels, grieving families, forged documents, and Mokgadi's blood-stained uniform hit front pages across Africa and beyond. Within weeks, the CEO of Altia Gold resigned. An international investigation was launched. 7 managers were arrested. 3 whistleblowers came forward in other countries, but for the miners of Police Ridge, nothing changed overnight. The shafts were still dark. The air still poisonous. The sorrow still fresh. Justice had a long road. No one ever saw Mosigo again. Some said he fled the country, drowning in guilt. Others believed he was silenced by the very company he had served. But one day, a burned-out car was found by the edge of a dried river. Inside was a pistol, a badge, and a single necklace chain, broken at the clasp. Whether it was guilt, revenge, or fear that ended Masego's life, no one could say. But those who remembered him did not speak his name with hate. Only sorrow. Months later, Laroto received another envelope. This one was dated 3 weeks before Mokgadi's death. If this reaches you, then I'm gone. I don't ask you to make me a hero. I am no martyr. I made mistakes, I chose greed. I chose silence. But I lost the woman I loved, and that silence became too loud. If anything I do helps even one man walk out of a shaft alive, then let that be enough. Her name was Naledi. She deserved better. Tell her story. And if anyone asks why I did this, tell them I was trying to breathe. Laroto wept. She didn't know Mokgadi. But somehow, she loved him. She arrived in silence, no press, no cameras, just a battered school bag and the necklace she wore around her neck. Naledi's necklace. She was 14. Her name was Ianda. She walked straight to the gates of the now-abandoned Polisa Ridge gold mine and waited. When questioned, she handed the guard a letter in an envelope addressed simply, "To my daughter, from Mokgadi." The world stopped. No one knew Mokgadi had a child. Not even Naledi, not officially. The girl was the result of a brief affair long before Mokgadi had met Naledi, but he'd never stopped sending money to her caretaker. Quiet. Consistent. In the letter, he wrote, "You may never forgive me for not being there. But I want you to know I tried to make sure no father ever buries his wife or daughter the way I buried yours. Be better. Be louder. Live." Ianda wept. She'd never known her father. But now, the whole world did. 6 months passed. Altia Gold was sold to a new company, Global Research Mining. They made promises, stricter safety protocols, transparency, better wages. But the miners weren't fooled. Mokgadi's friends, the few still alive, refused to return. "New name, same dirt," said one. And below, the same tunnels waited. The same stone. The same breathless dark. They patched the walls. Painted new signs. But the blood beneath the rock was too deep to wash away. Laroto, the journalist who first exposed Mokgadi's voice to the world, gave one last broadcast before resigning. It aired at midnight. His name was Mokgadi. He wasn't perfect. He was tired, broken, and poor. He didn't want to be a hero. He just wanted to see his wife smile again. We live in a world that crushes good men for daring to speak. But sometimes, their echoes make it to the surface. Sometimes, love is buried. And sometimes, love digs back out. The station cut transmission for the night. The silence that followed was heavier than the ore beneath the earth. There was no marked grave for Mokgadi. Just a stone laid beside Naledi's, blank, save for a small etching of a pickaxe and a heart. Ianda visited every month, planting flowers. She talked to the earth as though he could still hear her. I don't know who you were, she whispered one day, but I'll make you proud. A tear ran down her cheek. I live. Years passed. People forgot the scandal. Executives built new empires. Mines opened in other countries. The cycle continued. But beneath the soil of Polisa Ridge, in the veins that once ran gold, there remained a single untouched chamber, Tunnel 9, sealed forever after the collapse. Inside that dark hollow, somewhere under rock and memory, lay the shattered helmet of a man who had loved too deeply, dug too far, and dared to hope. Mokgadi never made it out. But his story did. And stories, even tragic ones, sometimes matter more than gold. Thank you so much for watching this video. Your time, your presence, and your support mean the world to me. If this story touched your heart, made you think, or simply gave you something to feel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss a moment of the powerful stories we share here. This channel is a place of emotion, of love, of deep reflection, where African tales come alive with heart and soul. And trust me, more beautiful, heartwarming, and unforgettable stories are on the way, stories that will make you laugh, cry, and remember what it means to truly feel. So once again, thank you for being part of this journey. Please like, comment, and share this video with someone who needs a little inspiration today. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and expect more loving stories from this channel. Subscribe now, and let's keep this beautiful journey going together.